G'day and welcome to the Early Crow, episode 50, brought to you by Makita. Right now, get amazing bonuses with selected Makita XGT 40V and 80V max kits and combos. Limited time only, visit makita.com.au for details. Makita XGT, more intelligent, more efficient, more power, more Makita. Boys, how are we? Big show last week and a lot has happened over the weekend in racing and in sport. Week 2 of the AFL finals, week 1 of the Rugby League finals, and didn't it deliver there on Sunday at a core stadium? Only thing it missed was Rabs doing a bit of, welcome back. But it was just a phenomenal weekend of sport. Where do we want to start? Should we look at the array of Group 1 ponies that raced in Sydney and Melbourne on Saturday? Port Adelaide showing up and having to pick up all of the Hawthorn toys that they threw out of the cot after the game. The Giants need to start wearing nappies because they, like, you try and make sure your kids go to the toilet before they go to bed, but 2 weeks in a row they've shat it. And the Rugby League, the Panthers, the Storm, they did what we thought they'd do, and the Bulldogs, you kind of like them even though they're the Bulldogs, and they weren't good enough yesterday against the mighty Manly Sea Eagles. Where do you want to start, Tommy?
I reckon we start with NRL this week.
You did pretty well there considering you got tonsillitis with that ad read, Dico. I was actually pretty proud of you then, to be honest.
We'll get to that later on in the tip of the week. Where was I? As my door opens, I can't see ahead, so it's a short person. It's one of the two.
It's the dog.
Anyway, no, it's going to be Lynn. It's quiet.
Yeah.
No, it's the boy.
Das.
Vicky. Rugby League yesterday. Let's go backwards through the weekend. Canterbury took on Manly. Beautiful seeing day out there in Western Sydney. Matty Burton kicked well all day. The Bulldogs looked strong. They looked consistent. It was the last leg of Praddy's all up from the captain's run. And together, I think you two combined do have the power of a punts or a juzz. And it took both of you, but you both sort of crowed that game at about 10 minutes into the second half, and the wheels started to come off. One of the great set plays all time, Daly Cherry Evans out of the scrum, fed Brooks with a behind-the-shoulder ball back, and the seas were just wide open, and he cruised on through. It was a beautiful game of rugby league. Thoughts on the game, Tom?
Yeah, it was actually nice to sit back on a Sunday arvo and watch it because the AFL was done. So it was nice to sit back. I was actually at Juzzy's house while he was playing 2K in the background. It was good arvo, great game. It was big for Manly to come back from multiple sort of leads. So full credit to him. I thought Turbo was very sore early and sort of come in.
So your read as a pro athlete, footballer yourself, different co, but he looked a bit ginger.
Yeah, definitely. You could see it on his face, even the body language. He just wasn't. You could tell he was worried about it. He actually made a big play late, which was huge, but definitely early on, his body language, his face, just didn't look like it was definitely 100%. But he did well in the end. He made a play late, which got him a try. But yeah, it's going to be interesting next week. I think they'll keep targeting the who do they play? They play Sharks.
They play the Roosters.
Roosters. So
the Sharkies have a bit of a bogey game against the Cowboys at Shark Park, where they got beat last year or the year before in a nail biter. Yeah, so the Sharks came down. They started okay, I thought, against the Storm, but the Storm's just too good, too strong, too big, too thick. And they just rolled on through them. Nico Hines, a day to forget, I thought. Kicking game just shown up again in a big match. I'm originally from the Shire, and there'd be a lot of Shire boys and girls quietly shitting the bed about what's going to happen on the weekend. It's almost Port Adelaide vibes about it, but are they as good as Port? And do they have Ken Hinkley? And is someone from the Cowboys going to shit talk them on Instagram to give them that extra bit of juice they need? I don't know. I'd be very nervous if I was a Sharks fan. Pratty.
Speaking of the Storm, how good was Grant's hat trick? Yeah, how good was the, did you see his post-game interview? They asked him, like, oh, geez, hat-trick, first one for the Storm, that's a big moment. He's like, I just cherry-picked all of them. He was just the last bloke there for the last pass and put him across the line. But I thought Hughes' kicking game for the Storm was outstanding, and he just kept pinning them back on the line, back on the line, back on the line. And is it Will Warbrick made a few big grabs? I thought they were outstanding. The Storm, they really put the foot down when they needed to on was it Saturday?
Saturday afternoon, and the wild weather that was Melbourne on Saturday, which we'll get to later on. The Panthers Friday night, way too good for the Roosters. That game promised a little bit more, I thought, than it delivered. It's a little bit scary, I think, for the NRL as a whole. It's basically, we're assuming and kind of waiting for the grand final Storm versus Panthers at a cool stadium.
Yeah, well, the Roosters had outscored, I think, the next nearest in the competition, which was the Storm, by like 40 points this year. So they've been putting up points left, right and centre. And Cleary came back with his chin and just said, "No, fuck this. We're going back to old Panthers staunch finals way." And they proper turned one on Friday night as well. Perhaps I don't know if you caught much of that, but I was flicking back and forth, and I made sure I caught up on the KO replay afterwards. It was it was impressive stuff by the Panthers.
Yeah, he was good. He hasn't played much this year, and to come out and do what he did, it was pretty good. He missed 3 weeks with that shoulder. He's definitely carrying it. But yeah, he was very good. He was he's going to be one of the. I reckon he'll go down as the greatest ever. But he's a very good player.
And the Knights, they were brave, but they weren't good enough against the Cowboys. The Knights a little bit like the Bulldogs, just some silly errors leaked into them in the back half of the game, which just stopped them getting anything going. Some really arsey stuff though from the Cowboys. There was a average bomb put up, a fluky gather, the big thickie that plays some of his best rugby league for Queensland, Reuben Cotter. Is there a more rugby league name than Reuben Cotter? Reuben Cotter, because he's got such thick chest and arms, was unable to clench his hands together in time to catch the ball, so he kneed it, didn't touch it, and kneed it over the try line, and then was able to go and ground the ball. It was a complete accident, turned the game. Cowboys escaped. Kalen Ponga unable to lift the Knights. The Cowboys now head to Shark Park, and that is a price alert for Sandown Race 5, number 3. It's gone up $7 at the tab. We need to pause the show. Sorry for that, guys. Marshall Music. That was race 5, number 3 at Sandown on God's carpet on Wednesday. Gavin Bedgegood trains Jesus, and Jay Carr will be doing the steering. $7 when we pause down to $4.20. So
apologies, we didn't leave you a price.
I think if you listen to this on Tuesday and you see sort of $4-ish price, you're entitled to have a good go responsibly. Gamble responsibly at 1-800-858-858. Or visit the website. Where were we? We just sort of wrapped rugby league.
Yeah, we've basically wrapped the NRL, but I do have a hypothetical for you blokes. If we were, Dicko, you were always wanting to do a few things for the Crow where maybe like you and I versus each other and then Paps has a go and we see what the benchmark is. If you had to truck nut and run straight, are you running into Jason Tamalolo or are you picking Big Nels? Who are you wanting to take on? Because I was watching Big Tamalolo go about his work and thinking to myself, you would just not want to run into that human being.
He dropped that bloke late, didn't he?
Yeah, all 6'5" of us as well.
And he was thick as the guy who dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather get leg kicked from Farjack than do either of those, and I'd avoid Nelson at all costs. I still remember the vision of him. They were on a footy trip in Bali, and he was just like these big cannons were just going. Boom, boom, boom. So he's a bit more violent.
Yeah.
You know, like he would. Our instincts. Pratty, you're a bit more girthier than Tom and I, but I think Tom would be like me. I'd be trying to like left, right, and go around him a bit. And Nelson would just take your head off if you did get him a bit.
I reckon off the field, Tamalolo was a bit like a cuddly bear as well, where Nelson's just a psycho all the time, I reckon.
Yeah.
So who are you running straight at?
I'll run straight at Tamalolo. Because
I'm running straight at Nelson. I want the experience. Like, if I'm going to get hit by one of them, it's going to hurt either way. I'd prefer to say, like, Nelson's he just looks nuts. I'd prefer to just go, I ran straight at Nelson. That's why I'm in a wheelchair.
Steve Irwin did that once. The late great Steve Irwin, one of the great Australians all the time. He went to Broncos training, I think, and he ran. He demanded that they run at him, and Gordon Tallis, I think, ran at him and looked after him. And he's like, "Nah, I want a proper one."
Have you seen?
And apparently Shane Webke's just a psychopath. Like doesn't laugh at jokes, like just real straight. And he ran over him and ran right on through him, and Steve-O just bounced off him. Oh, crikey, you know?
Have you seen the Inspired Unemployed do it with the Roosters boys?
I have seen that.
That was Crichton, wasn't it?
Yeah, Crichton. That was, and he's bit his tongue and jeez.
Oh.
Yeah, the Falcon. He got hit.
Yeah.
He got hit big time. So you're taking Farjack's leg kick then? Which one are you running into, Dicko? Because you got to choose one.
I spoke to Farjack on Thursday or Saturday at the races, and he said something about a leg kick, actually. How scary is that? Nah, I'm not taking a leg kick. He would snap my little legs, chicken legs. I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run it Tamalolo, and I'm just going to sort of stewie diver it, you know? What would Paps do? Embrace for the contact.
I think you just go bang.
Oh. Crook. Anyway, you may run straight at
You can wear shoulder pads and you can put on a headgear and all that sort of thing.
We need more than that. Anyway.
I'm not going anywhere near Nelson. Nelson will be my last option on earth. That's Rugby League. Let's go to the AFL, where we saw two outstanding games of football. The Saturday night game, which will go to second, not as good as I thought as Friday night's game. I told you last week, Port will turn up, and it will be relentless, and it will be aggressive. I've not seen a team tackle that well at the start of a big game in the last 2 years I can remember. They were just all over him. They were sticking tackles. They were tackling within the rules. Although sometimes the umpires thought they wouldn't. They weren't. I thought Port were outstanding, and I thought they deserved to win the game by about 4 or 5 goals. There was some very crook, in my opinion, umpiring decisions that went against them. There were balls that were out that they let go on. A goal came from it. The 3 probably of their 4 first goals were directly related to an umpiring decision that I thought was a bit controversial. And the dangerous tackle, Paps, that must be, obviously it's not like a big focus for you, the tackling. You do your best work in other areas of the game. But it must be tricky.
Yeah, it's I was watching it, especially in a big final when the heat is on. Like, they were going very hard. And then in front of goal, it's just like, geez, you just let it go. Those two were very, very dubious, and I would have loved to see him let him go. And I reckon Moore's, he's played it well. He's sort of jumped and gone into the ground. He's played it well, and they've kicked the 2 goals. So it's a hard one. The umpires, it's a hard game to umpire these days. There's so many rules, so many different
and it's getting harder
areas. Yeah, getting very hard. So you just would rather them let it go than call them, I think. But they're probably entitled to call them because they're meant to all year. So who knows?
The Wizard was good again. I think he kicked 3 in the end. Some like clutch set shots, Pratty.
3 goals, 1. He got a little spark going for him. Was in the third quarter maybe. He kicked 2 goals, and that's when the train started rolling on. And he's just quick too. Shit, I probably didn't realise how quick he was, but he put himself in the right position and got to the ball where it was going. I assume you were cheering a little bit hard there, perhaps for the small forwards that were trying to get it done for Hawthorn.
Yeah, he's good to watch, the Wizard. He shows a good bit of passion and goes in pretty hard, and he's going to be a good player. He's kicked 7 goals in 2 finals. It's pretty big for a first year player, standing up, big moments, kicks the goals, and I reckon he's a player to watch over the next few years for sure.
What about Chase Burgoyne? Played out of position slightly. He tackled grouse. He contested for marks really well. He just didn't stop all night long, and then he kicked a great goal at the end. He was, I thought, best on ground, and a credit to himself.
Yeah, he's good. He's good off half back. He's clean, composed when the game was hot. Looked like his old man and his uncle there for a moment. So he's exciting as well. We'll have to watch him on the weekend. His skills, his smarts. So yeah, he'll be one to watch on the weekend for sure.
When you watch a game like that, perhaps are you watching intently, going, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm going to get the best out of myself when I play either one of these sides? Or do you sit back just like me and Dicko do as an AFL supporter and just enjoy watching football and just take it for what it is? Or are you analysing it when you're sitting there on Friday night watching the game?
Nah, not really. So you sort of notice the players and who plays well and what they do and things like that. And that's sort of, the more you watch them, the more you know what you do. but probably more just sat down today and had a look at what their defence does a bit, how they defend, and how I can exploit them. Not sure who will play on me, so thought I had a look at all of them, and it was good to have a look at how they defend and see how we go.
I put myself into like everyone who I like think about, care about shoes. If I was Paps, I'd rather be playing against Port because that guy looks angry for the Hawks. That halfback flanker that played on Willie, who gave him dressing down all game long. He was clean and crisp, little Will. I don't want to play on that bloke though. He's angry and he's going to niggle you all night long. And if he gets opportunity, he's going to put one right through he's going to get you. And then if I'm the crust, like I've got to play on All Australian wingman or I've got to play on old Travis Boak. I mean, sign me right up for Boaky. That's how I look at it from that point of view. But I thought that Port really turned up. I think Hawthorn thought they were going to win. I think they really got sucked into they were really enjoying their own bathwater all through the week. They backed up Guinea's little comment, which I love, and I love all the shit that goes on outside the game. Like I said last week, I absolutely loved Paps and Toby going at it, and I like when Big J said, "Hey, you want some?" I love that stuff, and I adored just the like a little bit of a piccolo at the end of dinner. You know, when you're out for a nice Kenny just ripping into Guinea, like cop it. It wasn't like abusive. It wasn't overly aggressive. It was a bloke under enormous pressure who they'd shit talked about his football team and club, who just beat you, and they killed him. If the umpiring was a little bit different, there would have been a 4 or 5 goal win. And the toys were just thrown right out of the cot, I thought, from Hawthorn. Fair enough, big James Sicily, who hooked one to win it into the post, he's got to defend him, I guess.
100%.
And he's just played a game of footy. He's not like clear-headed.
No.
Sam Mitchell, though. I mean, for a bloke that implied that the Essendon Football Club were injecting needles into their arms because they're drug cheats about 5 or 6 or 10 years ago, to then all of a sudden get it right up on his high horse and go about as a young man and an older man, and to listen to fucking Jordan Lewis and Luke Hodge just be so deeply offended by it. Like, shut up. You lost. It was great theatre. It added to the contest.
Definitely did.
I love what Kenny did. And I'm assuming Tom's not going to have much to say. Praddy?
I think the thing with Ginny, like, it's good. Like, what he does is good, but you don't want to put your team under pressure. You don't want to say things that make your team under pressure, and I reckon that's what he put his team under pressure. And I'm sure the leadership group would have said that's not on and things like that. So, and then for Kenny, he's a passionate coach. He's always on the sidelines. He's always passionate. I think he'd be a great coach to play under because he's just so passionate. He's always getting around his players. He backs his players up no matter what. I thought it was good for the game. Like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have said it, but who cares? Like, it's a bit of theatre,
Yes, yeah.
and things like that. So, no, I didn't mind it. I think to cop 20 grand, it's very, very stiff.
Oh my god!
But I think there's a GoFundMe page on on GoFundMe. All the Port fans are tipping in, so they're saying they want
the corner, haven't they?
They go around and roundabouts, don't they? But it is what it is. I think Kenny's an old school sort of coach. It was up on the whiteboard. I didn't mind that. I think if something like that was said to our team, I think Horse would be in a similar line.
I thought Kenny and his coaching group really performed. They were awful the week before, but they stopped everything Hawthorn do. A great coaching performance. Good luck this week. I don't mean that. But a different kettle of fish this week. I reckon partly what Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge. It's also tough listening to Luke Hodge the next night. He was almost barracking for Brisbane. Like, mate, pick a team and call a game of footy. But I think partly what Sam, Luke, and Jordan Lewis are sort of a little bit more upset about, without even meaning to be, is Hawthorn were on a roll, had zero pressure on them, and everything was lining up. And they know because they've been there and done it. Like, this is like a free run. Next year's going to be a whole different story. And that opportunity slipped out of their hands with some errant goal kicking from boys that should know better. So, I love Kenny. I love what he did. Saturday night, Giants, Lions, game like sort of 3 quarters and 1 quarter, really.
Yeah.
Giants were controlling it. Big Jesse Hogan. Jesus, he's good.
What
Clutch,
a year he's had.
Big and thick, and just clunks him to stick his hands in the AFL. Toby Green, your man Paps, he bounced back and was much better, I thought, on Saturday night. Really strong. Just so talented. Even when he drops marks, he sort of figures out how to kick a goal off the ground. That was just special. But they sort of park the bus FIFA style when you're playing against the boys and you just go the 5-4-1 formation and just said, nah, we can hold on from here. And it turns out they couldn't because big Joey, like, he was always, I thought he was always kicking that first one. I was much more worried about the second one.
Because it was more,
Yeah,
that's the one you should kick.
Yeah, I feel like most footballers, though, that one from the pocket is like a 110% effort kick. For him, it's just like an 88, like just a little soft 4-iron.
And he wasn't expected to kick it where he's expected to kick the other one.
I think he was expected to kick it a little bit, though, considering he ran to the ball, and I think it was Cam Rayner and maybe Bailey that were in the pocket next to him. It's like, mate, would you not let a right-footer kick it? But that's 3 big games he's played now. He played a massive game in the grand final last year. He played well last week, and he probably kicked 4-1 and kicked 2 in the last quarter, I think it was. He fucking dominated on when the game needed to be won. Took those big marks and just had a few big contests as well. He got the ball to ground so well. He's been a great pickup for him. Maybe could he do things differently? Maybe, but everybody's a different human being. Let him just be who he is and have a crack. It was great footy to watch.
If he doesn't play, they don't win.
No. And Ashcroft. Fuck, Ashcroft was good in the second half. Good.
He really injected some momentum into the centre clearance, didn't he?
Yep.
The midfielder, he was good. I think the Giants did sit, like, I don't know, you got to learn from your... It's a hard caper, the AFL, and they didn't have a spare back with 2 minutes to go again, so interesting to see what they did during the week. But, they didn't execute.
The midfielder from the Lions, whose name I forget, it's not Lockie Neal.
Dunkley.
No, it's not Dunkley, the other one.
McCluggage.
He was enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a gun.
He was gathering like contested balls in their back pocket and almost on the end of the inside 50.
He was on one of them, I'm pretty sure. Didn't he have a shot at goal?
Just like, this bloke's just going the big lift and
he
they're
kicked
letting
it out
him
of the
run.
back pocket.
Like, doesn't that just sort of take 1 or 2 efforts to stop him running for that effort, Tom, that play, and he's sort of dust?
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you're sitting on the couch, tell you that much. When you're
That's
out there,
how we do it every week. That's how
when you're out there and there's blokes going off, and you're like, oh yeah, obviously we should try to stop this, but it's not that easy.
So, what could have GWS done different, and how real are the Lions now with that momentum? Like a famous win, 44 points down, and they kind of fill the spot, take the hat that Hawthorn was wearing, where there's not a lot of pressure on this week.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well. I think they went into the slow play too early, so from the 20-minute mark, they actually did that well. They probably took 5 minutes off the clock at the start of the quarter, but they went into it too early. I reckon they should have kept playing how they were playing. They were doing totally fine how they were going fast through the corridor and things like that. And then when you get to the 10-minute mark, you go into that slow. What they were doing, keepers off, is for another 5 minutes, and then there's only 5 minutes to go, and then that's probably the game. So. I think they'd probably just went into that slow mode too early, and then I think when you feel the pressure, and then obviously what happened last week, and then Brisbane's got a sniff of it, and the momentum these days in AFL is crazy. So you got to find a way to stop it, and they couldn't stop it again. So they're out of the finals, and if they won last week, they'll probably premiership favourites and have a home prelim against Port. So. It's a funny game, the AFL. It's never over until the siren goes, especially these days with momentum and things like that. It's crazy.
Do you think it helps them or haunts them into next year?
Oh, they'd be sick for a fair while. Like, they wouldn't want to watch any footy, that's for sure. I think, I reckon they were a massive chance if they. I think anyone is a massive chance if they're still in. Like. It's a crazy season, but yeah, they'd be turning in their guts for sure. Like probably been on the piss for a couple of days, and then when it gets to Tuesday, it hits even harder again, I reckon.
Or just life would hit you hard anyway.
It's do we forget how good the AFL finals is? I just always forget when we get to September and you get through the first 2 weeks of the AFL finals. Just like, why don't I just always remember how good the footy gets at this time? It's usually a little bit more free flowing.
That's exactly what shit me about Friday night.
Yeah.
So those like nitpicky free kicks, like the first set shot for Hawthorn, Aaliyah grabbed him, but that's happened in every contest.
Yeah.
They just start picking these little free kicks out. It's like, hang on, like normally it's just like whistles away. Let the boys try and kill each other. That's what they want to do. That's what we want to watch.
Yeah.
I was surprised how many decisions on Friday night were like no one knew what had just happened. No, not one commentator. You could tell no one at the ground. Whereas Saturday night,
I reckon the
whistles
whistles weren't working on the mic. So did you notice that?
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I think the footy is just so much more contested and.
It might have been an algorithm though at Channel 7, like the fuck these whistles are going too often, let's turn them down.
But yeah, I agree, like the finals is just a different ball. The pressure, the speed of it, the contest is just up a notch. It's funny how it works, but you just go that little bit harder in finals, and yeah, it's nice to play. I tell you that.
Speaking of going harder, obviously Friday night, the biggest game of your life, at home versus Port, prelim, chance to play in the grand final again. How's the week been? How's the ankle? And how's this the general vibe amongst the boys?
Yeah, it's good. Ankle's good. Trained on Saturday, so just a bit of a session there. Bit of sharpen up with some. Obviously trained Saturday, so we knew we were playing. And touched on Port a bit, how they would play, and some game plan stuff throughout. And then today was just a bit of a light session, bit of kick around, and then we get into a main session on Wednesday where we preview the opposition pretty heavily and put it into practice on the Wednesday. So game state stuff, which is heavily practiced with us. We do it a lot. We go through it a lot, and yeah, that's probably one of our biggest things we'll focus on again is the game state, because you see in the finals it's crucial.
Did we get around the crust today? I'm a bit worried about him. 0-6 start in the NFL, thinking maybe like 100% needs to see Emma Murray, if anything, just for his headspace. Not worried about him as a footballer, but worried about like the custard he spoke leading into this NFL season, mate, to what he's delivered, to the game that's in front of him on Friday night. I need him right. Are we thinking Emma Murray again for him?
I don't know, seriously. Thought he was bloody Kingsley. Coming into bloody NFL tipping, he's got 0. Like, honestly, it's a fucking joke. Him and Punts, go back and look in the mirror. You absolute battlers. So, have a good hard look at yourself and then start talking.
Oh,
they should donate, if the crust goes and sees her, or Punts went and spent like a month with her, they should donate that study to science when they both leave to meet God in like 65 years, just the learnings from their brains. I'd love to read them. So anything else of interest as we head into the big game Friday night versus Port? What's the weather looking like, and have you booked in the sharpener? I'm talking the skin fade.
Sharpener will be Thursday. And yeah, the weather's looking pretty nice. It's as always, Sydney this time of the year is beautiful. So look forward to some nice conditions on Friday night.
Hopefully the Dim Sim King gets up there, brought to you by CTW Excavations, and has a better night on Friday night than he had last Saturday night at the Bunyip presentation. Shout out to you. Great man. The other game on the weekend, the Lions up against the Cats. Tommy Stewart coming back for the Cats, Pruddy?
I think so, yep. I think he's due back in, and then I think Rowan trained today. I think I'm not sure he's available. Pretty crazy with a cracked skull, wasn't it?
Rowan's not fucking playing, I tell you that much.
Gary Rowan is training. He's on Fox Sports News right now with a big strap on his head.
Yeah,
a big, girthy, thick veteran Tom Hawkins is training. He's pushing for a spot. Will they include the veteran? Will they not? Ooh.
Yeah. So I think Tom Stewart's back. Gary Rowan's definitely been ruled out, but he's back training. So obviously he's pushing for what potentially could be. And then, do they pick Stewart or not, which is crazy. What was it? Stewart, Guthrie and Sam DeConing played in the VFL 2 weeks ago. So
How
many
changes
No,
can you make to a
Hawkins.
team that won by 85 points too?
Yep.
You said Stewart then. Hawkins.
Sorry, yep. Hawkins, DeConing, and Guthrie played in the VFL a couple of weeks ago. So it'd be interesting to see if they make those changes, as you said, Dicko.
Bit of pressure on, is it Brad Scott or Chris, one of the Scots, to decide what he does. I mean, how much change can you make to a team that pumped Port Adelaide like they did week 1 of the finals? He had 2 weeks to prepare for that. He's had 2 weeks to prepare now for the Lions. He's known he's playing them for, what, five or 6 days. So it shapes up to be a very, very good game with big Joey Danaher in form and the Lions full of momentum and not a lot of pressure on them. That's AFL. Obviously, our focus, like most of you guys listening, will be on the SCG on Friday night. We are roaring for you, Tommy. Cheering for you, praying for you, to every god that ever was invented just about, and some that haven't been, that you play well, that the Swans win, and you all get through unscathed. That's AFL. We've done NRL. Should we talk some ponies? Brought to you by CTW Excavations. They will go where the big boys won't. Run to the Rose at Rosehill there on Saturday, Tommy. Storm Boy half slow, then dug right up. Didn't want to give him a day off. They said, no, you will go and you will lead this race. And it set it up pretty nicely for Sunshine in Paris to get the job done for T-Berry, Annabelle Neesham.
I mean, I don't know what you've been watching, Dicko. I think too many races and stressing too much about Wednesday, race 5. Perhaps did you want to talk about the Storm Boy race? Because I'm pretty sure it was Traffic Warden that ran over the top of Storm Boy.
Yeah, Dicko, leave Rosehill to me, mate. The track. Apart from race 1, there was only 1 leader all day. Played a lot off pace, and you wanted to come down the middle. If you wanted to be about 3 or 4 lengths off the leader, 5 to 13 5 to about 9 was the Christmas. 5 to 13 were most like throughout the whole day, except for race 1, obviously. Rails in run, didn't have 1 winner except for the first. So it was a lot of talk around even track, but I think it's not really even when they're all midfield and coming down the middle. So it's interesting to see how it come up. I think obviously they've watered it. I think I spoke to Gano and he was thinking they were watering it. So interesting track, but it's very hard to get an even track every week. But on the Jericho, we'll start with Jericho Stakes. Joliestar. It's an interesting horse. Obviously the tearaway leader just went for it, and then it sort of all strung out. Probably, what was it, six or 8 horses, 7 horses all strung out. Joliestar sort of jumped very well and had to be pulled back from Kieran. And then that sort of put Sunshine in Paris in a much better spot, and Joliestar couldn't go with it in the end. So interesting. Like, does Joliestar come off a very slow tempo and then went whoosh first up, and then couldn't handle the hot tempo second up, or did it just have an off day second up? What do you reckon, Dicko? And then if they want to go to Everest, it's going to be a hot tempo. It's an interesting one to look at, I reckon.
It's yet to handle a genuine tempo,
in
my opinion. So it did it in the 1,000 guineas, but that's a low race for the status it holds, and that's like the best rating of its life. It gets it because it was that race. But it actually came home pretty well, just not as well as the other horse. That's sort of where the eye can lie a bit. Like, she came home significantly better first up off a significantly slower tempo, but her overall number on Saturday is better than what she did on the first up win, which was just amazing to watch to the eye. Her rating on Saturday on my stuff and your stuff is a career PB.
Yeah.
So,
it's not on here though. It's different on here.
That's what I mean. Because the career PB on the other sort of stuff, the older school stuff, will be the 1,000 guineas Group 1. Because it's a Group 1 and it gets elevated status. Whereas I'm sort of more talking about how fast she went from A to B.
Yeah.
And and the big figure that you're talking about was also 1600 metre race.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're talking about it being an Everest horse, which is a 1200 metre race. So, and that big figure is also against other 3-year-old fillies only. Whereas she wants to go to an Everest, she's going to be against the older seasoned geldings. She's going to be against 3-year-old colts, and maybe some fillies. She's now a 4-year-old mare. She's got to carry weight and give them weight. I think she's up against it in an Everest off this run. I think that Karen is copping it a bit, and I don't think it's very fair. I did love, though, just there, Caitlin now McDonald, on the 7 telecast, just gently sort of just let it sit there a little bit. I don't know why he went back on her at the start there. It's like, don't stress, babe. J-Mac's going to get the ride. If he wants it, he'll get it. He'll get whatever he needs. It's J-Mac. Stay calm. However, yeah, my view right now, Tom, would be nervous about her in the Everest for the price that we're going to get offered, or we are getting offered at the moment, because she was second favourite, I think, off that first up win. And there's some exciting 3-year-olds coming through that a lot of them, I think, will think about going to that race. And there's obviously the superstars, the big thickies.
So, yeah, and is it a miler rather than a sprinter? So I think that's the other question you could look at. I think you'll know that after this prep, because they've obviously trained it up to be the Everest. So you got to try things, and Uncle Chris definitely knows what's going on. So I'm sure he'll be able to figure that out.
Yeah, and on a very good day's racing, she's the 3rd best last 800 metres of the day, the 5th best last 600 metres of the day. So I'd comfortably say there's improvement in her because it's Chris Waller. Like, he's the best at it. Done it again and again and again and again. And I no doubt she'll run a PB on grand final day, and I think that's going to be the Everest. But just versus the price they're offering you, I think she might be a slight bit of unders.
Sunshine in Paris, before we go on, Dicko, or perhaps looking at the number, is that competitive in an Everest on a hot tempo race? What are we talking about there?
She's got a big fat number of 13.2 over 1,100 metres on a good 4 at Rosehill. She's run an 11 flat, all done the last 600 here on Saturday. I'd say she's on track and capable. You'd think first up she's got more improvement in her than Joliestar had, perhaps.
Yeah, I think obviously loves it fresh, sunshine in Paris. Neesham said, won the same race last year. Neesham said left a bit in the tank for this race compared to last year. So that's obviously a little sign as well that it's got a bit more improvement. But yeah, I think it definitely can shape up to win an Everest. It's just depends on what those 3-year-olds do, and where they go and things like that. So I think it was a great run. Obviously got the right part of the track, things like that, right part of the race. So it was favoured, but definitely can win, I think. Probably around, what is it, around the $9 or something?
Yeah. Yep.
Started 650 versus like Chain of Lightning in a Group 1. It's $5 versus Magic Time, Group 1. $5.50 versus Zapateo, Group 1. Like, you can't knock her, can you?
Run of the Rose, which is a great race to sort of look at, I reckon. Storm Boy misses a kick. Hunts up, puts pressure on. Switzerland went forward, and I reckon even probably sort of, I don't know, cost Storm Boy a little bit by putting some pressure on. The race actually...
They haven't gone hard early, is what Tom's about to say. They've gone even for the class of race to the 600, and when you watched it, you sort of thought they might have gone a bit harder the way he dug up to get there, which Grazier right up, because whilst he was slow away and dug up, which I hate, when you look at the data, you'd expect he was a bit tougher. Like,
yeah, I think the track as well. Like the nose and Storm Boy have been huge. You look at Switzerland and Bustling, which is they'd be nervous about that by Bustling. They were right there as well, in behind the speed, and they've come last and second last. So have they had a bad day? Anode and Storm Boy are big runs. There's a couple of ways you can look at it. But yeah, I'd be worried if I was bustling in Switzerland, owners and things like that coming into an Everest. I think it's very hard to win an Everest from here, but who knows?
What about if you're an owner of Linebacker or Tropicus? Are you just saying, hey, calm down a little bit, we were suited, but we were very good, or what are you saying? What's that team chat like?
I reckon Traffic Warden had the Christmas, and it was a great run, and definitely can go on for an Everest. Big run, trialled elite, got all the favours though. I think Storm Boy was a better run, was way back, hunted up the inside, barely off the bloody, like Kieran was giving it a bit, but through the line huge. I reckon right now, that's the one I want to follow out of that race. Obviously, they've both gone well. Storm Boy and a Note have gone pretty well as well. So, but Linebackers has just hooned home.
Linebacker's the horse you want to follow out of this race?
Yep. Which I think go to the Rose, the Golden Rose, to the Caulfield Guineas, and then potentially, I think you could even have a little nibble at the Cox Plate and $54. It's worth a little nibble, you reckon?
You do you. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858 or visit her website. Any other races we want to talk about in Sydney? There was that good little Henline race, which was maybe race number
7.
5?
Yeah, race 7. Good race. Lady Shandoa, the one Praddy tipped up on the captain's run. Did you, Praddy, about the Guineas, was it?
Yeah, about 1,000 guineas. Yeah, they're wanting to keep 2 of theirs separate. I got another article from my mate today. He's a sicko and riding it 24/7 that they might try and split them so it may not go to the flight in 3 weeks. But surely after that run, Dicko, if you're owning Lady Shandoa, you're having a crack at the flight stakes 3 weeks after a huge run on Saturday from where it came from. Surely you're thinking about, while it's in form, keep it going rather than holding it back for 1,000 guineas, which is now right at the end of the Spring Carnival.
Yep.
You have
I'd agree.
Yeah.
The horse that I'm interested out of this race, Henline, worst, like the best run on in the race with China Sea of that hot jump out that I think we've spoken about a couple of times now across our various shows. I thought it was a very good performance for the Spring Champs. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think it was very good. Watch it through the line. If you watch it past when the race is finished, it's up near the leaders. Very green. Another run or two before the Spring Champ, and I reckon we're looking all right.
Look out.
Probably another 2 that I sort of want to have a look at where they go next start. New Energy off 1 trial. Liked it last prep. It was a good run again. Held up. Looking for further. And off 1 trial, I think will improve significantly. Say that again. And then Bases Loaded is another one. Good out in front, first up, and he's going to be better over further. So there's another one which we were on, which is sickening.
There was a bit of that on Saturday. When we get to Flemington, we can talk about more sick stuff. Flemington, the rail was in the true. The track started on a soft 5, soft 6. It rained, it hailed, the sun came out. It was windy as all hell. It rained again and it hailed again, and the wind persisted all day long. Torturous meeting to review, but value to be had if we do it properly. I thought Nicolini Vito was as sick as it gets. It was a written in code all over again. How we didn't get a collect there. And then you look at the number today, Tom, and they've run the biggest number in Australia by a mile. If it was a 400 metre Group 1 race, they would have won it. And somehow we got beat on a $6 shot that just run a beautiful peak on a great setup. Sickening stuff. See You in Heaven. They raced that race just as it finished hailing. Surprising they ran. It went enormous, I thought, but not suited. It was a very frustrating day. Luckily, we got something out of the winner of that race, and we got something out of the winner of Arkansas Kid. But a frustrating day for me personally. I thought that the positives out of the day for us at the Crow, it was Growing Empire confirming his CV to be the favourite for the Coolmore stud stakes with a very, very tough win into the wind. Made his own luck. M. Zara, the King Kong of the Victorian racing riding ranks, just tested him out. He's just sort of doing his own research, a bit of sort of explorer stuff, like Scott in the Antarctic, just sort of seeing what has this guy got under pressure, just so he knew what he had there in his kit bag for the big dance.
Great ride from the inside draw on the day to get it out that far as a hurler. Yeah,
but he still had to cop the win doing what he did. I thought it was an enormous win and something you can really upgrade for the things that he overcome. Very, very nice performance. Very nice horse. The race of the day at Flemington was obviously the Group 1 Mackay Davis Stakes, where Pride Jenny bounced back. She was awful at Caulfield in the Memsies, I think it was. Made her own luck again, given an absolute peach by D. Bates. Sectionally, just spot on. Increased it, set him a task. I think Brightside doesn't beat her unless Blake Shin rides Antino and puts it into the race and gives Brightside a little bit of a bunny. Full credit to Brightside. A champion horse, great training performance by the Hayes boys just to keep that thing going and chasing lines like it does. Another Group 1 for him. Via Sestina Paps. What do we do with it?
It's
What are we? Well, firstly, let the viewers at home know what are we smacking at the moment. Are we lollies or what's the go?
It's this fucking cookie, Butterboy cookie. They're unbelievable.
Love it. So we're on the Mike and Ike's trainer now. It's a Butterboy cookie with a kombucha, with a remedy kombucha.
Yeah, like the top end cookie. But I think when you look back to 2 weeks ago, you were worried about, you weren't off Jenny, but you were worried. I think it's similar. You're worried about Via Sestina, but you're not totally off.
Yep, that's a good call. Yeah,
and I think we'll go with that. I think if it comes up at nice odds, it'd be on good ground, draws well, and it comes up as a $5-6 chance. You got to look at the SPs, the weather, the track, and things like that. I think you take all that into consideration and work from there.
Yeah, that was a Group 1. Some horses just didn't handle the heavy track. I think the 3 black bookers out of the meeting are Our Safina, who was first up. From WA, 3 wide, the trip, no cover. Really brave, really tough in the See You in Heaven and Grinzinger Bell race. I love what Nadal did first up. Returned gelded, punched into the breeze, peaked on its run. Nice platform to win races. He's ready to win next start or the start after. And I really like See You in Heaven. The form's proper. She's a line chaser. Like, she made ground when nothing else was even really interested in running. She just got through her work. I really like that.
Greenfly backed that up later as well, didn't it, Dicko? In the last, that made ground from absolutely nowhere as well.
Yeah. Thought you'd bring that one up too, did you?
I just thought, just to really
jam a bit more.
No, just to cement your spot on See You in Heaven, mate, as a horse to follow.
I thought the big improvers on the day, Moby Dick. Great performance. I think well short of its best. Mick Price didn't think it could win. I didn't either. And the market didn't either, Mick. So you weren't alone. Either was I. It was like almost doubled in price. It'll be a nice horse this preparation. It can get further. Dawn Service, no favours at all. Blake Shin, brilliant ride. So I think what he did tactically was go, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it because it gives nothing else help. Like, I'm going to cop the wind, but so are you behind me.
Yeah.
No sort of peloton action here.
He went nice and early too, didn't he, Dicko? Yeah, he made sure that when he had the win, that he was going.
He's a brave boy, Blake, and another great ride from a very, very good rider. And Point King's run an enormous number in the staying race. Absolutely phenomenal number. So if we get a Group 1 over 24 to 1,300 metres and it's trying testing conditions, you really got to consider Point King as a big, big player. Big number, big performance. Overall, Flemington was a really tough day for everyone involved. Participants, punters, jockeys, trainers, and especially for our man Pistol Pete.
Shout out to the bins on course.
Who braved it all day. Just copped it, every bit of it. But yeah, that's how I saw Flemington. I can't wait. It's an enormous week ahead in Melbourne. We've got God's Carpet, Sandown Hillside on Wednesday. Some really nice fields. We've got Marshall Music and probably Dennis Star running for the Silks Then we've got Caulfield Underwood Stakes Day Saturday, coming off hopefully a massive prelim on Friday night into Flemington on Sunday for the Oaks and Derby sort of trials where they have those 800 metre races for the young horses. So really, really exciting week ahead in Melbourne, and just good racing all across the country, particularly Sydney and Melbourne, as the footy finals get towards their end. Boys, that's probably racing.
That's us. Good
I
work.
think you had a little. You were talking to me and perhaps last night about dinner or tea. I can't work this out, but you've got a little tip at home for the
I've
people
got
at
a
home.
few tips now. Thinking about it. Firstly, don't feel any pressure if the Crust or Paps ask you for a tip. They've probably already backed it. They both asked me about growing Empire, and I said, well, I don't think we can probably step into it right now with the amount of wind and where it's going to map. They both had already stepped into it.
Yeah, they were just looking for validation, mate.
Yeah, what is that? Is that sort of like just to feel a bit safer before it jumps?
I think so.
Perhaps? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Just sort of, yeah. Well, I actually hadn't backed it, and you said no, and I still backed it.
So he said, I really respect your opinion, Dick.
I
Hey,
said-
how does this sound?
I said this doesn't matter
Fuck
about
you.
the wind. I was just saying this horse is too good. It doesn't matter about the wind, and away it went. So it was good. Back yourself in.
All right, F1, Piastri picked up his second win for the season. Overtook the little man from Monaco, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
Yep.
Distant relation of Matt Leclerc, who was a gifted small forward for the West Coast Eagles.
Not a bad look at my missus was like, who's that on the TV when he got interviewed
Mark
last night?
Leclerc too. Wasn't it Mark Leclerc?
Yeah.
Who's good looking, Mark or Oscar?
Charles. Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, made it a big weekend, a bit like a weekend back-to-back double for Emma Murray, perhaps. She's one of, he is one of her men.
Yeah, I think she does a bit of work with. I think he does a bit of work with Emma. So, yeah, it's interesting.
McLaren take the lead in the Constructors' Championship as well to go overtaking Red Bull with that win.
It's actually good because it genuinely makes the F1 watchable on a number of levels. So if we're bored on a Sunday night now, we can tune in. It's McLaren versus Red Bull. It's Piastri versus Verstappen.
Yeah.
Perez versus, what's the other fella's name?
Lando Norris.
Norris. Yeah,
But
Norris.
that's also interesting as well for McLaren. Piastri's racing out of his skin, but Lando Norris is not that far behind Verstappen for the overall for the driver championship. So it'd be interesting to see what moves they pull there. They pulled. I'm pretty sure they let Piastri. No, they let Norris go. Did Piastri let Norris go to win the other week, or was it the other way around?
No, it was the other way around.
Other way around. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do. They've got the lead of the Constructors' Championship, but do they look to get that number one driver spot as well? There's a few that can win it.
What percentage do you think? So the car and the driver.
I think it's like 94%
10.
the car. Like Lewis Hamilton was God's greatest gift to F1, or Sebastian Vettel was, or Schumacher was, and as soon as they don't change, they'd only be getting better.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Surely with the
McLaren was last year.
Yeah.
And they've just all of a sudden Oscar Piastri couldn't get off last. And now
Poor old Danny Ricciardo, he just zigs when he should zag all the time.
Yep.
I think
McLaren I don't think he's zigging and zagging anywhere at the moment.
He
I
left
think he's
Red
done
Bull for Renault, perhaps. Renault shat the bed. Red Bull went to the next level.
Yep.
He then went to McLaren, and then left McLaren because they weren't going any good.
Yep.
I bet you're still smiling though, and you would be too if you were rich as fuck.
Oh,
like he
100%.
is. That's the F1. The golf on the weekend. I don't even know what happened in America. I didn't watch a shot. It was a low field, but I did catch on 5:03 yesterday afternoon, last night. Rory McIlroy properly just throw away yet another golf tournament. It was like Paris all over again, or any one of the US Open this year. He's got like big head noirs. Big head noirs. It was an Irish Open too. Like, what's he going to do in the Masters when he's four shots up? I don't know. He's so watchable. Everyone in golf loves him. But
Can't
Nicholas
get it his own
Hoygaard
way.
was able to get the chocolates there in the Irish Open. I doubt you two watched any of it, but it looked like a great deck to play golf. I will say that.
Nice, mate.
And the silence is deafening.
Yeah, good chat. Is that about all we've got time for on the Early Crow?
I'm still
episode
waiting for this
50?
thing. You've
Yeah,
sparked
so
it up last
tips.
night on the
Got some
WhatsApp.
tips, some life tips from an older man to younger guys who are listening at home. Are you sitting at home thinking, fuck, I might have another beer? After telling yourself all day, nah, I'm not going to have a beer tonight. I'm going to have a couple of days off the beers because if I drink every day, then what am I? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I've got the answer for you. Mint is one, but the most important one is lemon myrtle. It's an Australian native. I didn't even know, but I have one growing in my front yard. The chickens don't touch it. You go and pick the leaves off, you wash it, you put it in a little thing with boiling water, just straight off the tree. It tastes real nice. There's no caffeine in it, so it doesn't get me going because I've already got enough trouble getting to sleep. And it's fixing my tonsillitis all in one. Same with the mint. The mint's good for your joints and for your
Acid
digestion.
reflux.
I hate tea. I never drink tea. I actually like this stuff. And you can sort of pretend you're a bit of a bushman. That's what I did all of yesterday. Put on a flannel, put on my jeans, my boots. I checked on my livestock.
Fire.
2 chickens, but I checked on the livestock. I harvested some trees, picked some lemons. But just sort of fits in that narrative of being a bit of a bushman with the beard, and I really enjoyed it. I'm tipping it very, very strongly. It's a lemon myrtle. It's a plant. You can grow it, you can water it, and you can drink some tea and do something good for your body for once, if you're like me. And the other tip I got for you is yesterday I did the gutters. Compost. It's great compost. I've been on this planet for 37 years. I've done gutters for... Simo probably had me up there when I was about 10. So, like 27 years I've been doing them, and I've either just reefed it out and chucked it on the ground or blown it out and shit's gone everywhere. Yesterday I was like, there's no way I'm going to clean up that shit on the ground. I don't want to do that. So I put it in the buckets, and then I thought while I was doing it, I'm going to put it in the compost. 2 birds, 1 stone, no clean.
How much compost you got going on in your concrete jungle there, Paps?
Cool. Actually, there's a bit of compost outside. They throw it out in the fucking nature strip there, I think. Fucking good. Well, a bit of livestock in my backyard and go alright as well. Take him for a walk down the beach. I don't think it'd last too long with Murph.
Hey guys, that's been the Early Crow episode 50. We brought up the half ton. Thanks for coming with us for the journey.
It's just to raise the bat one, though. You don't take your helmet off. That's when we get to 100, which won't be far away. Just to maybe a tip
we're
of the
doing
cap
it
for
casually.
cap,
We're doing it casually. We're not doing a big Paps goal celebration. We're doing it just sort of like we
just raise the
expected to get
bat, show the stickers, get the sponsor happy.
back
then
half of the bat
move
even.
on.
Yeah, those ones, those real like South African sort of ones.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a half ton. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being part of it. Again, we'll see you on Thursday night, maybe Friday morning for the captain's run, where we'll preview Underwood Stakes Day at Flemington, and I'm not sure what it is, but it will be juicy at probably Royal Randwick, maybe, Tom, on Saturday. Let's go at Randwick. If we're wrong, we'll let you know, but it's going to be a big weekend of racing and sport. We've got that covered on the captain's run, which we will record on Thursday this week. We'll have golf, rugby league. No rugby league. We'll have golf and NFL all across our socials on Thursday, NFL on Sunday, and Eyes on Ponies on Saturday. And the Wolf Den made a little bit of they chipped away on Saturday. Pretty crook to get Bold Bastille run down with that wind, with the horse getting the complete PR behind
Bellatrix Star.
That really hurt, and I didn't even realise they were on Sunshine in Paris, to be honest, until I checked a little bit later on. But that contest is heating right up, and we're ready for it. We're in front, and we intend to stay there. That's been the Early Crow episode 50. Gamble responsibly. Bye for now.